Do trans people have a certain je ne sais quoi? Do we have a certain vibe or energy to us? Maybe we do. In some countries, transgender people are seen as holy beings. And in other countries, we're seen as freakish outlaws. So, I don't know. Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria. I am a 24-year-old woman of transgender experience, and here on this channel, we talk about everything. We have femininity content, we have reaction videos, and we have more analytical videos like this. So I'm here to kind of demystify, why do men like trans women? It's the age-old question of, is it gay to date a trans girl? What makes someone a chaser? What makes someone trans amorous? All these things. I'm here to answer all of them here today. I do want to say that BLAQUE here on YouTube made a fantastic video about this. I will link it down below. Definitely go ahead and watch that. Considering that she is a trans woman of color and being someone that is self-described as non-op, which means that she does not want to have any bottom surgery, she has a perspective that I do not. So please, 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 after this video, go ahead and watch her video down below. I will actually include a clip of her video in this one because she said something better than I would ever be able to. But I want to put my hat in the ring. I definitely have had all sorts of experiences. I transitioned very young, so all of my dating experiences have been as a trans woman. So I have so much to say on this topic, and before I dive in, I have a word from our lovely sponsor over at Catch Beauty. Hi there! If you know me, if you've been following me for a while, then you would know that body hair removal and permanent body hair removal has been a huge roadblock in my transition. For years, I had to shave my arms, my legs every single day if I wanted a smooth result, and I had already spent thousands of dollars hand over fist at salon and electrolysis lasers on my face and my bikini, so I was just not interested in spending that money on my whole body. So I did some research, and that is when I found Catch Beauty's at-home IPL laser hair removal device. This laser is my top recommended method of permanent hair removal and permanent hair reduction. Like I said, used to have to shave my arms like every single day, and you can see here I have no hairs. The ones that I do are like blonde hairs that wouldn't be picked up anyway. With our IPL handset, you can get salon quality results at home for a fraction of the price. Also, it's in the comfort of your own home, and you can use it anywhere on your entire body. Instead of booking a section for your calf, and then your thigh, and then your tummy, and then your chest, girl, you would be in a salon for years. On top of their incredible products, I really love what Catch Beauty stands for. They have been supporting the trans community since day one, providing us with resources. Catch Beauty wants to help us through even the hairiest parts of our transition. So whether you are trans, not trans, man, woman, somewhere in between, if you want permanent hair removal and permanent hair reduction, I highly recommend you click the link in my description box down below, check out the Catch Beauty at-home IPL laser hair removal device, and use code ROSE to get money off your order. Thank you so much to Catch Beauty for sponsoring this portion of today's video, and without further ado, here are the true reasons why straight men like trans women. Okay, so jumping right into it, there are two kinds of men I experience that like transgender women. One being a man that actively seeks out transgender women to have relationships with, and the other is the man who maybe is seeking out a woman to have a relationship with, and he happens to meet a trans woman or later on finds out that she's trans. Neither one of these guys is good or bad. Neither one is necessarily a chaser. That is for an entirely different video. But let me tell you about my experiences as a young trans person in the dating world. So I transitioned at 14, so most of, if not all, of my dating experiences have been as a transgender woman. I am also post-op, so I have everything a girl would have from the head to toe, but most of my dating experiences have been pre-op. The men that I would date would be almost exclusively straight men, and that was not great for my mental health or my emotional well-being. Now, I am engaged to the man of my dreams, getting married this year, and I feel sort of qualified to talk about the journey that I had that brought me here and the different men that I experienced, the trials and tribulations that I went through to get to where I am now. Okay, so what is it about transgender women that attracts men? I think people assume that a guy wants to be with a trans woman either for two reasons. He is gay and just wants to experiment and whatever, and that he wants to be penetrated by a woman. In my experience, most of the time, neither one is true. If they want a man, there are so many more men out there that will do whatever with them. It would be so much easier for them to find a gay man than a trans woman. So I find that hard to believe that it's just someone that is confused and wants a man. Most of the time when someone is only interested in the something extra, that is closer to something we would call a chaser. But those who are interested in the between me down there, there's so many different names for it, are usually interested in it for reasons that most people don't assume. I think when a lot of people think of our relationship with a trans woman, they assume that the trans woman is going to be filling the male role in the bedroom. So being more dominant and topping. And I gotta tell ya, some trans women I'm sure love that. I would say most of us do not. We are women, and while some of us might be dominant and submissive, whatever, like any other woman, there are two main problems with the idea that we're gonna top. One being that I feel the majority of trans women, myself included, just choose not to top. That it's just not something we want to do. It's not something we're comfortable with. I would say most of us, even if we are non-op, might be insecure or uncomfortable with what's between our legs. But even if they wanted to top, there are so many trans women who, once they start hormones, go flaccid. They're not able to top. They're not physically able to top. So if they're not able to top, if they're not able to get hard, then what is it about what's between their legs that keeps these guys coming back? For me, I was so uncomfortable with what was between my legs before surgery that I didn't want them to even acknowledge it. I didn't want them to notice that it was in the room. I didn't want them to touch it. I didn't want them anything. Some girls love that and some girls don't. So it doesn't get hard. They can't touch it. They can't look at it. Why would they be interested? One of the main reasons that I think this is that these guys want to dip their toes in all the waters. They want to sample all the soups. They want to live their life to the fullest and smell all the roses. And by that, I guess I just mean that a lot of these guys are sexually explorative, that they want to see what's out there. They want to, like I said, sample all the soups. Good soup. Many of these men may have truly never fantasized whatsoever about a man. They might have zero attraction whatsoever to men. In fact, I would say most of the people that I came encounter with had zero attraction to men. And when it comes to the something extra, that is more of just something different than what they're used to. They might like women, they like everything about the trans woman they see, but this is just another way for them to change up the way they get their dick. The difference is when a lot of these straight guys will hook up with a cis woman, they will go and tell their friends, tell their buddies, they'll be like, oh my God, yeah, this girl, like, but when it's us, it's more of a secret and it's more shameful and they feel that it's something they shouldn't be doing. And in a lot of cases that adds to it. That like you're their secret and it's the secret hookup that no one knows about and it's just different and it's sort of kinky and it's weird almost to them. Let me tell you, the biggest reason that I find men like transgender women and particularly pre-op transgender women, no one ever talks about this. It's not about wanting penetration. It's not about even exploring sometimes. A lot of times it's because they want to dominate someone with a penis. Now listen. Some of you watching right now are the men that do this and they're like, yeah. And other ones are like, what the fuck? It's true. It's true. To some of these men, they sort of see us as sissies.
No, it's true. It's true.
They might genuinely only like women, but they feel some sort of sexual gratification by dominating someone who, I guess, forfeited their manhood, which is such a fucked up way of looking at it, and that's not who we are as trans people. But again, we are speaking through the eyes of the fetishist. Real life trans people are not sissies. We didn't give up our manhood. We're not doing this for male pleasure. We're doing it for our own lives. But that in and of itself can be very appealing to men. I don't want to repeat too many of the things that Kat said in her video, but something that she said really hit home with me and I really wanted to elaborate on it. Actually, two things really hit home with me. One of the things that she said is that sometimes guys that like transgender women like us for the same reason some guys like tomboys, where they assume they're gonna have the best of both worlds. To put it in Kat's words, oh, this person's gonna watch football with me and suck my dick. They expect us to be these super enhanced, sexy, beautiful woman with the libido of a 19-year-old boy. And that's just not the case. And I wanted to add on to that because it is so offensive for people to think that. That is so dehumanizing because as trans people, or at least as transsexual binary people, I was assigned the wrong sex at birth, and what was female about me from day one was my mind. I have never been anything other than a woman on the inside. So when people think like, oh, well, she was raised as a man, and like, first of all, never raised as a man, transitioned at 14, but oh, she was raised as a boy, like she's gonna like want to play catch and whatever. Do you think I transitioned because I fit great with the boys? Did you think I transitioned because I wanted to watch football and play sports and I wanted to spit on the floor and I don't know, what did guys do? No. Basically, no. And there are plenty of trans women and cis women that love all of that stuff, but that isn't exclusive to trans women. And to say that we have the best of both worlds because of our trans situation is just so ignorant. In fact, I feel like you're less likely to find a trans woman that is both of those things, or even one of those things. One of them being, I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find a trans girl that really loves sports and like manly guy stuff, that she wants to go and do these guy stuff with you, because a lot of us have been restricted from doing feminine things for so long that we have no interest in doing these guy things. Like, leave us alone. And the other side of the spectrum is that most trans girls, maybe not most, but a lot of trans girls that I know, once they start hormones or they get bottom surgery, whatever, their libido goes way down, because a lot of us have even less testosterone in our bodies than cis women. So I don't know. I mean, I myself, it's true, I've always been a hypersexual person. That's just who I am. Hormones did not change that. But for a lot of girls, it does. And the fact that they think they're gonna get this like football watching hypersexual girl is wild. Another reason why men love transgender women, and I'm particularly talking about pre-op transgender women with this, Kat put it better than I would ever be able to, so I'm going to insert the clip right here and let you hear it from her directly.
For some men, right, there's a lot of mystery around how cis women receive pleasure or express pleasure, right? A lot of men are very afraid of them doing something to a cis woman and the woman faking it or pretending, or their pleasure not being something that is truly felt, right? And so for a lot of these men, their draw to the genitalia is less that it's a penis and more that it is very clearly communicating whether it's turned on and when it orgasms. They don't quite view it as a man's penis. They view it as an engorged clitoris.
So in that clip, Kat is saying that a lot of times these men are intimidated by female genitalia, and that they're a little more comfortable with their own plumbing, that they're more confident that they're actually pleasing their partner because they understand how that part receives pleasure and how it shows it. And I'm bringing this up in this video instead of it just leaving it in Kat's, because I have heard this so many times. She is so right about this. There are a lot of men out there who just like women, but maybe prefer being with trans women, and particularly pre or non-op trans women, because they're more comfortable with things that they're familiar with than getting to know a woman's body. Now, they should be taking the time to learn a woman's body. If you're intimidated by female genitalia, take the time to learn. Like, I mean, I understand it's intimidating. I'm a transgender woman. I've been dating women since before I had bottom surgery. So I think for myself, and that's actually something to bring up in a whole other video, for myself, I was so intimidated by female genitalia because I felt if I was with a lesbian, they had already been with so many women who know vaginas so well because they have one themselves, and I didn't. So I had a learning curve, but guess what? You get a partner that wants to teach you. You take the time to read things, to watch things, to see diagrams, to understand other people's perspectives. And so, yeah, I think that's sort of an easy way out to say that you're just intimidated by women or by female genitalia. But nevertheless, that is something that I have heard from so many people come to mind right now, but I'm not gonna call them out. You know who you are. But in my experience, those are the kinds of men who less so fetishize us and actually like women, cis and trans women, being that they date trans women, they date cis women. Maybe they prefer trans women just because they're more comfortable with what's going on down there and they understand it better. But yeah, those are typically the kinds of men that I had been around as far as a man that had been with trans girls before. So despite most of this video being me demystifying the interest in transsexual organs from straight men, I actually find that for the most part, men's attraction to transgender women actually has nothing to do with what may or may not be between our legs. Because yes, there are people that are interested in that. There are people that want that alongside vulvas or just don't care one way or another. But remember, there are so many trans women who are either on the road to get bottom surgery, have already gotten bottom surgery, or are just so uncomfortable with what's down there that they don't want anyone to have anything to do with it. When trans memory is brought up, most of the time people are focusing on what's in between the legs. They're saying, oh, well, he's gay because he wants someone with a penis, or he's gay, but it's really the first one. It's really the first one, I guess. But people like don't remember that bottom surgery exists. Like they don't get that like a lot of these girls are either going to or have had bottom surgery. So does it make you gay to be with someone anatomically female? And if someone is anatomically female, what would drive someone to want to date a trans woman over a cis woman? A lot of times, nothing. A lot of times it just happens that they met somebody that they love and they ended up with them. Such is the case for my partner. He dates women and he met me. I'm post-op and we just continued dating and here we are. I want to choose my words very carefully with this, as did Kat in her video, because this isn't really my perspective, but it is the perspective of a lot of men that date us. If you go through a trans woman's comments on their videos, like down here or on my posts, sometimes you'll see men commenting things like this, and it just goes to prove my point that a lot of times when a man is mostly interested in transgender women, whether we have had bottom surgery or not, outside of sexual exploration and something different, I think a big reason why so many men, so many straight men love trans women is because so many of us exhibit this hyper femininity, this almost traditional femininity. Now, this has so many roots in anti-feminism, it has so many roots in misogyny because there are many cis women who still uphold traditional femininity values, and traditional femininity is such a toxic thing to say in and of itself. But because women are allowed to dress how we want now, because cis women are not forced to be in the home and not forced to wear, you know, gloves and a dress and everything all day, every day, they're dressing for themselves, which is a good thing. Many girls are still into hyperfemininity, but I will say I observe hyperfemininity displayed in trans women at a much higher rate per person than you would in cis women. But even for myself, I know, I mean, I have very long hair. I take pride in doing a full face of makeup and doing my hair, having my nails done, you know, this going on. For a lot of us, we have been kept from femininity for so long that when we're able to embrace our feminine side and dress and appear and sound and act femininely, we take it overboard, that we, you know, all pink all the time, or huge breasts, or, you know, huge lips, lots of makeup. And a lot of guys love that. A lot of men like very feminine women in the same way that a lot of women like very masculine men. There are, of course, people in between. That's not the case for everybody. And like I said, there are hyper feminine cis women and there are tomboy trans women. I mean, you see on my channel, I have a whole playlist devoted to femininity boot camp. If you haven't seen that already, I'll link it down below and up here. But I love all the things that I wasn't able to do back in the day. I love smelling good. I love making sure I'm super soft. I love making sure I'm hairless. I love doing my hair, my makeup, and going to the gym to maintain my figure. I just love it. I genuinely love it. And I think a lot of us were brought up watching sitcoms and like a 1950s Americana sitcom, which we now know is a sham by the American government. But we grew up seeing that and seeing, you know, honey, dinner's ready, like with a little apron and stuff. And a lot of us were so inspired by that and wished we could exhibit that kind of behavior. And now that we can, we take it to the max. I probably spend half of most days, or at least a quarter of most days, in an apron because I'm cleaning and I'm cooking and that's just who I am. I think cis women have been put in this box, in this cage of having to look and behave a certain way, that they have to be super feminine, they have to work, like be in the home, they have to care for their partner and their children, that now that they're able to do something different, they want to, understandably, and that's fantastic. But for me, as trans women, I think we were sort of put in the opposite box. saying you can't do any of those feminine things. You have to go and work and earn a living for your family. You have to go and do all these things that the men do. I think a lot of straight men see trans women exhibiting hyperfemininity and willfully filling a role that was designated for women by the patriarchy. Again, not necessarily true and not my opinion, but a lot of these men see trans women as being their best bet to having a submissive, beautiful, stay-at-home, freaky-deaky housewife, and that's what they want. Not all men want that, and not all trans women are gonna fill that role, but I do think that's something that appeals to a lot of straight men. So here's another part of the mystery though. While the hyperfemininity may be observed at a higher rate in trans women than it is in cis women, trans women are so much harder to find. According to UCLA, out of the entire world's population, only 0.1 to 0.6% of people identify as trans. In the United States, 1.6 million of the 331.9 million population are transgender people aged 13 and up. Now, for this sake, I'll just say 18 and up. It might be a little bit different and we'll adjust the number, but we'll just say 18 and up. Of that 1.6 million, 39% of those people are transgender women. That's 624,000 transgender women in the USA out of 331.9 million people. So you are telling me that these men are finding trans women, these rare creatures walking the earth, because we're feminine? They couldn't find any hyper feminine cis women in the area? I find that hard to believe. That is just as much of a mystery to us as it is to the men who date us, trust me. In this video, I provided you with a few reasons why straight men might like transgender women, and of course the list does not end here. So if you are a woman of transgender experience and you want to share your ideas as to why straight men might love us, please let me know. If you are a trans amorous man and you love trans women and you want to explain why, please let us know in the comments because we would love to know. Do trans people have a certain je ne sais quoi? Do we have a certain vibe or energy to us? Maybe we do. In some countries, transgender people are seen as holy beings. And in other countries, we're seen as freakish outlaws, so I don't know. The point of this video is to lift the veil of secrecy and show the mystery of why straight men like trans women, but in my experience, there really is hardly any mystery. I myself am marrying a straight man. Do you know why he wants to marry me? Because I'm a woman, and he likes women, and he likes me. Sometimes guys just like women and they happen to also like trans women. I think if society was more open to people loving transgender women, transgender men, non-binary people, whatever, that it would just be so much more accepted. It wouldn't be the secret that they have to hide, because I can tell you firsthand, you think your man has never looked at a trans girl and been like, damn. You think he sees Nikita Dragon and he's not like, damn, she's kind of thick. If you like women, you like trans women. That's it. I'm sorry. You might not want a relationship with one. You might not like a pre-op trans woman. You might have your own preferences and stuff, but who's to say the girl in the coffee shop that you've been eyeing this whole time isn't trans? You don't know. I myself, I'm trans, and I have met people where I genuinely didn't fucking know that they were transgender until later on, and I was like, what? So the bottom line is straight men like transgender women because we are women. So I hope that clears up some of the mystery around us for some of you, and if you are a trans woman, hopefully this sort of opens your eyes to understanding why some guys like us, the guys to look out for, and the guys that will like you for you. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. It helps out my channel so much. Also be sure to check out all of my social media. I'll link that down below. I'm a lot more active on Instagram and TikTok than I am on here. So check me out there if you want to be involved in any future videos or any future Q&As. That's the spot to go. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and until I see you next week, good luck. I love you.